In this demo, I will show you how to do a local Kubernetes setup using Minikube. The first step is to go to github.com/kubernetes/minikube. Here you have the Minikube repository to run Kubernetes locally. So what is Minikube? That's what I already explained in the previous lecture. Here you have the link to the latest release. So if you click on latest release, then you're going to go to the releases page, and the latest release at this time is v0.12.2. There will probably be already a new release when you look at this page, but the installation instructions shouldn't really change much. I have OS X, so I'm just going to copy paste this command. If you're on Linux, you can use this command. If you're on Windows, you can download the Minikube windows.exe. If you're on Windows, you still need to rename it to minikube.exe, and you need to add it to your path. The easiest way is to just save it. The easiest way is to just save it into a directory and then cd to that path, and then you can execute minikube.exe. If you want some more information about the Windows installation for Minikube, just have a look at the procedure document where you can find extra information. I'm using Mac, so I will just execute this command. I opened a terminal on my Mac. If you don't know how, you just do command space and you type terminal, enter, and then you see something like this. Copy paste the command. It will then download approximately 80 megabytes. Once the download is complete, it will ask to enter your macOS password, or on Linux, your root password, because we are moving this Minikube to user local bin. So I just entered my password, and Minikube is now available. So I can start it with Minikube start. So it's starting a local Kubernetes cluster. This might take some time because it needs to boot up the virtual machine. So this now set up our Kubernetes cluster, and it says kubectl is now configured to use the cluster. It will actually have configured this directory. This config is now created so that kubectl can connect to our newly created VM with Kubernetes. If you don't have the kubectl tool yet, have a look at my procedure document, and there's a link for Linux, Mac, and Windows platforms. So I'm on the Mac platform, so I will just download this one. This is again a 63 megabyte binary, and this is the command line tool. You need to download this command line tool first, and then you'll be able to use kubectl. And you don't need to do any configuration anymore because Minikube did this configuration for us. Kubectl will take a look at this kube config and will then know that it needs to go to this IP address and this port to connect to the cluster. Kubectl is downloaded. So we're going to do the same thing as we did with Minikube. We're going to give it execution permissions, and we're going to move it to user local bin together with Minikube. Then we can execute kubectl. So if you just press enter, you see all the commands available. So kubectl is working. So let's try a few commands just to see if our cluster is working. First, let's run kubectl with the command run. Run means run a particular image on the cluster. The name that we're going to give it is Hello Minikube, and the image is going to come from Google, and it's just called Echo Server. So very simple app, and we're going to put it on port 8080. Just press enter. It says deployment Hello Minikube created, and then I'm going to use the command kubectl expose deployment Hello Minikube type node port. So this is just going to expose this port to our host machine, to our client, to where I'm typing. Don't worry if you don't understand these commands in detail yet, because I'll be explaining them later in the course. We just want to know whether the cluster is working or not. So I'm going to press enter. Service Hello Minikube is exposed. And what I want to know is the URL. So I'm going to say Minikube service hello Minikube -- URL. And this can take some time because it needs to download this image, this echo server. And this image can already be quite big because every time we are pulling an image, it's a fully contained image. So it includes already the operating system. It includes all the dependencies with this echo server. It took longer than expected, but here I have the URL of the service that is now exposed to my host machine, which means I can just use my regular browser to access this URL. The reason why it takes so long is just because of the download. Right now I'm on a slow connection, so if you also have a slow connection, you will see exactly the same thing. It takes some time to download this image. So let's go to the browser. And here we can see this is an echo service. It just shows us some settings. So if you do test 1, 2, 3, then we will see the real path is test 1, 2, 3. So this service is working. Our cluster is working. We can schedule containers on Kubernetes, and it just pulled a container for us with this application on. So this is it for this lecture. If you want to close your cluster again, if you want to stop your cluster again, you can just type Minikube stop. And then it will break down your Minikube cluster. So this is it for this lecture. In the next one, I will show you to do exactly the same thing on AWS. So if you don't want to use Minikube, you don't want to use your own PC, you can use Amazon AWS. I will show you how to do that. If you don't want to run it on AWS, you can just skip that lecture and go straight to the one after that.